if the career doesn't give you a lifestyle you want, that's the wrong career for you. So I believe in developing certain skills, the three skills, a lot of skills, but three skills which I would like to tell you that obviously everybody should have. One is networking, so building connections. Number two is sales. And the last but not least is money. So the gap between knowing and doing is what causes people to not get results in their life.
This episode is sponsored by AI Your Superpower. Want to get seen, chosen, and recommended by AI? Go to aeo.iiyoursuperpower.com and download your free AI visibility playbook to stand out and grow with clarity.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to Happiness by Habit. I am Silvana Pimentel, your host. Today's episode is very special because we're diving into something the speaking world doesn't talk enough about. It's collaboration over competition. My guest today is someone who has built not just stages, not just books, not just businesses, but an ecosystem. He's the founder of the Global Speakers Circle, now known as Speakers Supporting Speakers, a member of the family that hosts the TEDx Lake Mary event, and a leader in a movement centered around one powerful idea: speakers who help other speakers. I'm so honored to have you in the podcast. Welcome to Happiness by Habit.
Silvana, what a pleasure. You are such a joy to be with. Wherever you go, you bring happiness. So there is no question that Happiness by Habit is a great podcast title for you. And your audience is very lucky to have such a wonderful host who is out there spreading joy, spreading happiness by doing good things.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Well, one thing I want to mention as part of the introduction for you is that you are a person that I admire and appreciate very much. You and your family have been so amazing, and such a pleasure to be around. And I would love to, let's start with that question about the importance of the family in your life, and how you handle not only raising amazing kids, but also having a business with them and your whole family ecosystem. So let's talk about that.
Thank you so much for asking. And luckily enough, early enough, before even I had kids, I heard a song called Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon, which taught me that there are most parents who don't have time for their children and there is no real relationship with them. And I was like, I'm not going to be that parent. And I decided to be a homeschooling parent. Now, to be a homeschooling parent, I needed to have flexibility. So when people who are listening today are asking themselves, what career should I be in? The first thing I would say to you, if the career doesn't give you a lifestyle you want, that's the wrong career for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody I know, Steve Jobs included, who died a multi-billionaire, he had not a good relationship with his own family. For a long time, he denied his own daughter. And I look at all of that and say, I'm glad, I'm blessed that God gave me the vision of being a parent, a homeschooling parent, and creating a business coach and financial coach career where I could stay home with my children and devote the time to help them while growing my business.
Oh my God. I love that. Absolutely. And that has inspired you to host a podcast, Positive Parenting. And I was so blessed to be a guest in your podcast. And I told you something I would love to repeat today is that you did an amazing job. You have an amazing family, and especially your kids are really, really amazing. As a matter of fact, I call Macy the amazing Macy because she's that awesome. Uh, and Sahil also, he's only 18, but he's such a powerhouse and he's already doing great things. So let's talk about your kids and positive parenting in your life.
So the first thing I want to mention is obviously I've been married to Kim for 34 years. So we have a team here which supports the system here. So the first thing about Macy and Sahil is I realized earlier that I didn't want them to go through the typical schooling academic route. I did not want to chase degrees, diplomas, grades, because in my own life, I was a failure as a computer programmer working 12 years despite having bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, master's in systems engineering from very reputed university, because I realized academics create an identity for people which is going to hurt them in the long run. So, what is going to be helpful is to create an independent identity of what can be done to adapt to the changing world and give them the skills that they need, which is the reason Macy and I wrote a book called Seven Critical Career Skills They Don't Teach in School. So, my daughter today is a TEDx speaker. My son is a TEDx speaker. I've been also on TEDx Stage as well. And the reason I mention all of that is I wanted to give them what I would call skills, belief, and connections. So when you as a parent, and even if you're mentoring people in your team, if you give them skills, belief, and connections, they can create a life based on the design that they want instead of trying to figure things out later. So I think there are some fundamental skills that every parent, every teacher, every employee should be teaching their employees in order to be more effective. And that's really what I have done. So are my children very good test takers? No, they're not. Okay. But they are getting better at it. But because that's not what I focused on. I focused on developing skills that are real and practical. Like my son that you know, his podcast is called Future Millionaires. He has
Mhm,
interviewed over 100 very successful people, just like you, Silvana.
mhm.
And his powerful idea is very simple. As a teenager, if you start young about investing money, even $100 a month, you'll have a lot more money than what most people today at 50, 60 years old have it. So I believe in developing certain skills. The three skills, a lot of skills, but three skills which I would like to tell you that obviously everybody should have. One is networking, so building connections. Number two is sales, which means you need to learn how to ask and get what you want, whether it is for a job or money. And the last but not least is money, which means tracking and investing and growing your money. So those three skills are important in a business and in person's life as well.
Wow, I love it. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. You mentioned, well, your kids are a testament of what a successful person can be. Like they are all already have TEDx speakers, they have a podcast, they have a business also. It's like really, really interesting. So, because you touched on that TEDx experience, let's talk a little bit more about that. You, Sahil, and Macy are TEDx, and Kim, your amazing wife, and she's wonderful as well. Let's talk about she's the licensee for TEDx Lake Mary. Let's talk about TEDx Lake Mary. What does it mean? What is the purpose of this TEDx event
But
in your life?
thank you very much. So early enough in my life, I knew speaking is an important skill to develop. And I put my children when they were 8, 9, 10 years old, up to 14, I think, in different speech programs where they were able to practice speaking in front of a group, speaking impromptu or speaking with preparation without looking at notes. And that experience was very helpful, in my opinion, because that shaped them to become confident about speaking. Because last year, when my son spoke on TEDx Stage, the coach who was coaching other 12 speakers was like, wow, his speech and his delivery is amazing. Because from a young age, he has been seeing me, Macy, and others to speak in front of groups, and he has been learning consistently enough and developing that skill over a time period. So if you're watching this, there are a lot of different groups available, like Toastmasters is a group that people can also learn from. I wanted to help my children have not just a degree. A degree is great, which is helpful for a lot of people. I wanted them to have real success in terms of being on a stage of TEDx speaking, because nobody can take that away. Their video has been uploaded. They can look back and say, wow, I'm so proud of myself. But more important, I've developed a skill that is really very important. And we wanted to promote that community idea, which is why we started Speaker Supporting Speakers. And also, we were able to host TEDx Lake Mary in November 2025. We had 11 speakers, three performers. People gave great reviews, and you were kind enough to attend with Sabrina, which I really appreciate your support for that.
Oh my God, we had so much fun, and let me tell you, your event was extraordinary. It was really world class. It was everything, and it was very special. You did an amazing job, and the speakers were like super impactful and really, really great topics for the talks. And speaking of Macy and Sahil, they were the MCs for the event, and they did such an amazing job. I really enjoyed it. They were like really natural at it, and they were really, really good. And so kudos to you and your family for such an amazing event that you guys put together. Let's talk about now community, that the sense of community, and you have this wonderful community called speakers supporting speakers. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Why you put together this community? Why is it very important to have a community? And also, let's talk about Friday networking.
Well, thank you very much. For those who are watching Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we have an hour call with speakers. We also have guests there. We have networking. So it's a great place to be. And you can come as a guest for the first time for free. If you want to go learn more about it, go to fridaynetworking.com. So let's go back to the speaking part. When I was frustrated as a computer programmer, I wanted to start a career. I said, I want to be a speaker, except I didn't know where to start. And that's what I realized. A lot of people want to be speakers, they don't know where to start. Or if they are already good speakers, they don't know how to continue on the journey of being a speaker, both from terms of getting more opportunities to speak, but also creating more income. When I started my career, which was 25 plus years ago now, I mean, I had no clue. I just went and spoke to any group where I could and pitched whatever I could, like $5 cassette tapes. Some of you may remember those cassette tapes. I made those and I created and all the kind of stuff. And over a time period, I developed a system, developed connections, and I was able to create programs that I could sell. People would buy and people would get benefit from it. And hence I could create income from it. So the first thing I want people to hear is that as a speaker, being around other speakers who are learning and growing and also will be able to support you makes a big difference. So our community is designed so you as a speaker, and again, speakers means authors as well, coaches, podcasters, so different groups of people, but people who have a message that they're very passionate about, they want to share it with the world, and they get a joy of being in front of the groups of people. They get a joy in making sure that their message is landing with the right people, making an impact in their lives, because that is very gratifying. And I'm sure, Silvana, you can tell from your own experience of being in front of groups of people, sharing your message with that enthusiasm, and you're like, wow, I know I'm making a difference in people's lives. So, Speakers
Mhm.
Supporting Speakers is a free Facebook group community that you can join. And obviously, we have, as I mentioned, Friday networking to support people because there are challenges like, what should I do next? They have somewhere to go and ask questions.
Absolutely. And I am a member of both groups and I love it. So much value in both the community and the networking events. So definitely encourage anybody listening to join. They will be they will appreciate it for sure. So let's talk a little bit more about that. What would you tell somebody, a person that is maybe entertaining the idea of a speak? They might have a really powerful message, but they feel sure they don't know where to start. What would be that piece of advice for them?
Very good. So I remember when I started on that journey 25 plus years ago, it doesn't change because the first thing is you're enthusiastic about an idea you want to share with people. So the first thing I would recommend is find groups where you can easily speak. And luckily, we live in a virtual world as well today. In my time, you had to go physically in person to drive,
Mhm.
go meet somebody, and so on and so forth. Today, you can go and offer your services free to a lot of people to get some practice. Every company, every organization is looking for an inspiring speaker to come and teach them something that would be of practical value. So if I'm teaching about AI as an example, I can easily go to an organization and say like, hey, I have a 20-minute talk on how AI can save you 10 hours a week. And most people are like, wow, that would be good. It's like, great, fantastic. And then you go and give that presentation for 20 minutes. And during those 20 minutes, you give them some great tips that they can apply right away. And they immediately feel like, you know what? I would like to apply this, but I need somebody's help. Now that's where the AI superpower, superwoman, Silvana can come and say, hey, not only can I teach you, but I can help you implement it so you actually see results because in general, Silvana, most people have access to information. In the
Mm,
AI, Google, ChatGPT world that we live in, you just put in information that you request and it'll give you answers, which is why the AEO, answer engine optimization, has become so popular. And you
mhm,
can easily understand what is required to be done. But Silvana, what is the biggest problem? The biggest problem is knowing and doing, right? So the
mm,
gap between knowing and doing is what causes people to not get results in their lives. And when they know something like how to save 10 hours a week, but they don't have the tools, the mindset, the skill to implement it, they're like, you know what, Silvana, why don't you help me do that? And then
mm,
Silvana says, sure, let me do a 60-minute strategy session with you to understand your business, which is totally free. And now let me help you actually take these steps and make that practical for your audience, for your company. And that's really what happens. Because most people, when you have something of value to share and you share with the right people, they see that you're an expert. Like yesterday, I was on a call with a company with about 50 some employees, right? Their owner has known me for a while before. He started another business, he succeeded, then he created another business and he's doing really well. And I taught them a few things based on my experience of using what is called disc assessments, which if you go to my TEDx talk, you can learn more about it. They were like, wow, he knows, does know what he's talking about, and he should be somebody that we should use more and more of his services. So it makes it easy when you have a talk, a product or a service to immediately start people and then continue to provide value so you can create income from it. The challenge I think most people have is they are focused too much on just speaking and making money instead of speaking to create relationship and opening the door for continuing conversation about income. And people won't change their lives by listening to 20 minutes on how to reduce 10 hours a week in their day, in their week, but they will get help by you working with them steadily. So at some point they have that freedom that you have promised them. So it is the implementation. So as a speaker, not only should you be looking for opportunities to speak, but also to help people implement your ideas so that they can get the result that they're looking for and you can also create an income. Does that make sense to you what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. Right on. That's very important. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's different. Definitely the way it happens, and people should focus on that, the outcome and the transformation, and the impact that they do on the people and the implementation opportunities, more than the speaking gigs, payments, and things like that. Interesting. So you touch on the importance of TEDx also, because a lot of people, especially within this group of people who love to have a powerful message, but they want to put it out there, it seems like a TEDx stage is such a powerful stage, and so many people have that idea or that of that goal to give a TEDx talk, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that and the importance of TEDx in your life and in your family, and how people can get involved with that TEDx to speaking at TEDx stage.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. So I had heard about TEDx before, but it never really made too much sense. But 2 years ago, my daughter and I were having a conversation. I pretty much told her, hey, you should apply to get on TEDx. Now, luckily enough, my daughter, she does exactly what I tell her to do. You know, that's not common for most parents, but I'm very
Oh yeah.
blessed that she does exactly what I tell her to do, no questions asked. She's like, sure. So then I paid a lot of money, got coaching because, in my opinion, it's very simple. If you want the result in your life, the first thing is you should be very clear on what you want, because if you don't have a
Mhm.
vision, no clarity, you don't know where to go. Number one. Number two is look for support system immediately. It's like who can coach me, who has a community, who can help me, and then focus on developing the skills and consistency. Like you said, habit, right? So if they have the skills, consistency, and habit over a time period, they will achieve the goal that they want. And that's what people need to understand. So TEDx is obviously a lofty goal for a lot of people. The key message I would give each and everyone who's watching is what has stopped me in my life is what stops most people in life. At some stage, we are thinking, I am not good enough. And that is what will stop all of us at some level. You know, I don't deserve success. I don't deserve to be on the stage, etc. Because we make these things bigger in our mind as a problem than it is. All we need to focus on is okay, somebody got on TEDx stage, which means that you can get on TEDx stage. Also, it means very clearly is that somebody got some training, some support in order to be able to do that. And that's what I want people to understand is that if you are struggling with the idea of how to get on a TEDx stage, because TEDx stage is pretty powerful. Once your video is uploaded, it's like 44 million subscribers on that particular stage. You also get to put in your LinkedIn, Facebook, and everywhere else you're a TEDx speaker. People can go watch your talk and say, yeah, I can understand who this person is. And when you talk to them, there is a level of credibility that you have in communication, and people trust you faster than they would otherwise. So my suggestion is, yes, you want to be a TEDx speaker, make sure you have some support system going in, because the average person, I don't know exactly, applies to 87 different stages before being accepted. Now, some may get acceptance the first time, which happens, right? But if you are in the long run thinking like, okay, I will be on TEDx stage, you'll just be patient and keep applying until you get the result you want. But that's where you need to have the training, the skill, and somebody to keep you pushing and motivated so that you keep applying and not give up because you're like, oh, I applied to 5 places. They didn't say yes. So, like, hey, if the average is 87, you are not there yet.
Oh, yeah, totally. Touch on two very important topics: the power of hiring a coach, because having a coach in your life to accomplish a goal is definitely very important. So I would like for you to comment on that, the importance of having a coach to accomplish a goal, but also the power of community.
Yeah. So I'll give a simple example. About 4 years ago, my son joined a cross country team, and we were new to Florida at that time. We found a group, a local high school group, and there is a high school football, high school soccer, track coach. I'm saying football and soccer, sorry, high school track and cross country coach. And I talked to him. He said, hey, your son, he's 14, no problems, bring him along. And we were able to bring him there. And my son struggled. The first day he threw up and everything else, but he saw a community there. He saw other children. He's like, wow, I can be part of this community. He saw a coach who was pushing them, but he also saw a goal of becoming somebody who's physically fit and somebody who has created a better identity, a bigger identity than where he was at that time. And over a time period of 4 years, he has grown a lot. He's physically fit. He's running consistently. So because he got a vision of who he can be, he also got a coach who had standards and a process and provided the care that he needed in terms of what to do next. And he had a student community that was running along with him, where he now had consistent feedback and support and some kind of camaraderie as well as competition in order for him to pursue even more goals. And that's what has been very helpful in the last 4 years. I see that as a big change in him because he was able to do that. So for people who are watching, and community is what you're looking for, especially in speakers, support speakers, is come there with a vision to be speaking to more groups, but also creating income from there while simultaneously supporting other people by sharing your experiences, your challenges, so we all can learn and grow together. Does that make sense to you, Silvana?
Absolutely. And I've lived in your community and with your coaching. So definitely very important, both of them. I would love to ask you now, talk to you about positive parenting. You and Kim are amazing parents and you have done really a really wonderful job with your two kids. What advice, and I want to mix this question with another one, which is an advice for parents who might be struggling with parenting, because parenting is not an easy task for sure. What advice would you give for parents? But I would like to mix that question with happy habits, because as you mentioned, that the topic of this podcast, or the title, is happiness by habit. So I would love to for you to share with us some happy habits that you incorporate in your life as a parent, and things that you do with your kids, as what habits you share with your kids.
Thank you very much. So, the first thing which I want people to understand, and I come from a Christian faith, so the two commandments I like to follow is love God, and love people, right? So, obviously, loving God is up to you how you want to do that. That's your choice, right? Loving people is something you and I can easily control, and I can teach you more about that. So, the first principle I believe in is serve people who love and care about you. The number one group of people. I see so many people whose priority is to please everybody else, but not please their own family. And in my family, I teach this over and over and over. I say, hey, you will never see me care about other people outside the family more than the people in my family. I'll try to please you more, work hard to satisfy what you are looking for, put your wishes on a higher priority than anybody else's. And that was the fundamental principle that I have lived by. Like yesterday at a local ice cream place, they usually have today's a name drawing. So if you have a name this, you can get a free scoop of ice cream. So yesterday was Kimberly. So like, oh, so it was still 8:45, so that we actually left the house because Kim had a couple of commitments. We had a couple of people over and all that kind of stuff. And then 8:45, we go down to the beach where the ice cream shop is. And we were able to eat ice cream because that is to support my wife, because Kimberly is the name that was there. And what I want people to hear and understand is that in your priority on a daily basis, and priority comes from only simple two, well, three things, I should say, three things. Where is your time? Where is your money? And where is your energy? Right? Are you putting that in your family? Because a lot of people like, I'm working hard for my family. They go for 8, 10 hours a day to work, maybe 50, 60 hours a week, and they're pleasing clients and employers and employees. Let me ask you a question. How important in your weekly calendar is your own family? That has always been the case with me, that my family has been number one. My daughter comes and says, hey, Papa, I want to do this. And obviously, if it makes sense, I'm like, sure. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. I cancel other stuff depending on the priority. And I go with my daughter. She has skating exam or test because she used to be a figure skater at 10 a.m. in the daytime. I'm like, no problems. I'll be at the rink supporting you. That is what I did, where my children knew if they had something going on and it made sense for me to be there, I will be there. And that has never changed in my life. And I will always be supporting my children so that they can enjoy what they want, knowing fully well that their father is going to be there to support them.
Wow. Let's share about some habits because I know you do many things with your family. Well, they are homeschool, you work with them. So you do a lot of the activities together. So let's talk about some of those habits that became part of your non-negotiable activities with your family.
Very good. So the first thing is I give hugs because we are home all day long. We are leaving the house much. So the first thing is I see them, I smile, give them a hug, and I say, hey, how
Ah.
special you are. Like one of the simple things. And I don't think my daughter will mind. As soon as she gets up in the morning, in WhatsApp, she says, good morning, right? And I reply back something like, good morning, my beautiful girl. What a joy you are.
Oh,
What a special gift.
oh,
Okay. Every single day, that's a habit. Right? And this is something simple and easy for anybody to do. But I
hmm.
want my daughter to reach out to me first and say, hey, Papa, I'm awake. Like, great. Thanks for bringing joy to my life. I love you. It's like something to that effect. I say, I love you repeatedly over and over every day, every day. And I keep reminding. So my son Sahil is growing. He's learning new skills and stuff like that. So I keep telling him, hey, I'm so proud of you for the skills you have learned. And I keep repeating. It's like, hey, what did you learn here? Tell me more. And how do you feel about it? And I can see the growth he has had in the last 12 months as an example, because he is becoming the person that I know he can be proud of. Like yesterday, I'll give you an example. So we were at Culver's, which is a fast food restaurant a few days ago, and we were ordering, and then the lady who was taking our order, I usually have an habit of asking, hey, are you the manager or something like that? And she's like, hey, actually, I'm from Mexico. It's a long story, but I just recently became the owner of this Culver's. And she was saying, proud.
Wow.
So I was like so proud of her as well. And so and then my son mentioned his podcast called Future Millionaires. And we gave her the card. And then yesterday, what I asked him to do was go get a nice congratulations card, $5, go to that restaurant, Culver's, and physically give it to that lady, Nancy, to say, hey, I'm proud of you for having actually. So he wrote a handwritten card, handwritten inside the card, and he had his podcast card as well. And he gave that to people because I've taught him that people want to feel special. So if I can help people
Absolutely.
feel special, then they will do more for me and grow themselves as well. Is that making sense to you where I'm coming from?
Oh my God, I love it. And that actually talks a lot about how you the values of you and your family also because I've been on the other side of the card receiving and I have some beautiful cards that you came and your family have sent me and I feel the love and the energy and the appreciation so definitely can relate to that and say that makes a difference can brighten somebody's day and it is really really a good a beautiful habit to have. Thank you. Let's talk about because you also do like a morning meetings for coaching to your kids. You start with that your day. That's so cool. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So 7:30 a.m. in my household. We have a short meeting together. So I'm reviewing with them, hey, what was positive yesterday? What is going on for you today? And then we do social media as well. So I ask my son, okay, what were your LinkedIn analytics? How many people saw your post? And so on and so forth. He's growing his, LinkedIn connections. So we want to keep him focused. And LinkedIn likes 500 plus connections. So he's over 500 now, getting close to 600 connections. So I'm very proud of that. And his podcast is also growing. And actually, I think he made like a small amount of money from the exposure his podcast is getting.
Wow, look at
Yeah, they
that.
get 500 downloads a day. So my son and my daughter, both of their podcasts are getting about 500 downloads a day. So if you're somebody interested in promoting yourself, you should join our community, fridaynetworking.com. Go to Facebook, Speakers Supporting Speakers, and we can tell you more about how to get on these podcasts and promote your message, just like Silvana is doing, helping me as well. So in the morning, we want to look through calendar, see what's going on, what's important, because if I can teach these habits young, where they are independent, but they are held accountable, they will have the habits to learn and grow as they want. Does that make sense what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense and really, really makes an amazing difference. And that's one of the key components of how to raise a family like with positive values. So I really, really appreciate it. So last question, what's your message for people and how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the simplest part is the cell phone, which is 248-866-0063, which is 248-866-0063. My email is my first name, Minesh at mbaxi.com. So that's definitely the easy one to do. All of that, in my opinion, you can join me on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. But if you are a speaker, if you are somebody looking to grow, then the best place I would say is go to the Facebook group, Speakers Supporting Speakers, apply to join the group, which is totally free. And you can also join us on Friday networking at 10 a.m. Eastern calls, where you can connect with other speakers, authors, podcasters, etc. So you can feel that you're part of a community which is learning and growing together. So the best place for you, if you want to be very free, very quick, join the Facebook group, Speakers Supporting Speakers.
Oh my God, absolutely. Encourage everybody to go ahead and do that. This is very powerful and a lot of value. Well, my friend, it has been a pleasure having you in my podcast. Being part of your life has been such a blessing for mine and my family. So I really, really feel very honored to be part of your inner circle. And thank you for sharing all the wisdom. I'm sure your story and your habits have inspired many people, many parents, speakers, and entrepreneurs in general. Thank you very much for sharing that, Minesh. That was a pleasure.
Silvana, last point I would say is you are bringing joy to a lot of people. And I
No,
want to
thank you.
commend you. Meeting Sabrina was a pleasure. And I can tell you that anybody who comes in your life is going to walk away feeling good about themselves, feeling that you bless them.
Oh my God, thank you. Well, now that you mentioned my daughter Sabrina, I want to tell that we went together to a workshop that with you and your family, and it was such a pleasure, and it was so inspiring for her that she actually also launched her podcast during the event. So it's been really, really powerful, and thank you so much for your kind words. Well, for everybody listening, remember leadership is a habit and collaboration is a mindset. Growth is intentional. Let's keep crafting impact one conversation at a time. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye bye.